Hi everybody and welcome back. Today we have a new video about flooring installation, more exactly engineered flooring, so engineered wood flooring. I think is one of the most used floors in the industry uh, because obviously there's a couple of reasons why people prefer to use engineered floor in compare obviously with other floorings, with other type of floorings. Um, it's because it doesn't work as much as the solid wood flooring, and it does give you the wood effect as you will have obviously with the natural flooring. So when I'm saying that this doesn't work as much as the solid wood flooring, I meant it doesn't expand and contract as much as the solid wood flooring does. Just to let you know, the images that you are seeing now is just a preview of what you're gonna see in the video. We are going to start this video from the beginning, so don't worry about that. We'll explain everything from the beginning to the end. I just wanted obviously to say a couple of things about this flooring, and I didn't have enough space on the start of the video to give you all this information. So basically, um, the engineering flooring, you will find that um, in two different types. One that will have obviously the real wood at the top and soft wood at the bottom, and the other one will have real wood at the top and plywood at the bottom. We are preferring the one with the plywood at the bottom because we found it to be more quality than the one with obviously softwood. So basically you will have 3 to 5 millimeters of real wood on the top, whatever obviously the species that you will purchase. So that obviously can be sanded quite a few times if you are thinking of resanding your floors, and under that you will either have plywood or softwood. Now there are a few different types of the installation of these floorings. uh, there are probably like 4 types, so you can either glue this down to your subfloor, you can nail this down to your subfloor, you can either glue and nail, you can do both, glue and nail this to your subfloor, or you can install this as a floating floor by just gluing the tunnel groove of these boards and strap them and lock them together till they obviously get glued. We are going to show you the easiest option to install this flooring, and that will be to do a floating floor with glue in the tunnel groove. Okay, so now back to the beginning of the video. We just removed the carpet from this landing. We are going to remove the carpet grippers because we don't need them. We're also going to remove the carpet on that landing because we'll have to put flooring there. I think will be a very cool transition against this balustrade. Also, some of this chipboard is moving. Is obviously in some places is higher than others, so we kind of will try to see if we can remove some of the chipboard and level it up a little bit. We don't want to put any self-leveling on top because there is underfloor heating, so we don't want to reduce obviously the underfloor heating, because by the time that you put some self-leveling and you also put this flooring on, the heating might not work very well. So in here we have about 10 millimeters sorry gap, and we have a big bow in the middle. We'll try to remove these 2 boards very carefully because we know there is underfloor heating underneath, and we'll see if we can pack this up with some packers and some expanding glue and make them to be a bit better. They also they are very noisy, so they're squeaking a lot, so we might try to put some glue in between, um, just to make it obviously a bit more soundproof. You can see here we have about 8 millimeters or maybe 10 uh, as a bow in the middle of these boards. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to do is to mark all the screws that we are taking off out from the chipboard. Yeah, so we don't want to put screws back after we put them back, and maybe you have a hole that didn't have a screw before, and you'll put a screw there and we'll go straight into a pipe. So we mark all the screws that we are taking out, and we are going to put the same screws back when we come to install the floors back. These boards have the pipes obviously attached on them, so it is a channel that is routed, and you have the pipes there and the aluminium foil that covers them. So we can't obviously do much about this these boards. We can't take them all off, but we managed to take one, so we can put some packers under, and we can put some glue in between this expanding glue that we was using before. This why the chipboard is supposed to be glued with this type of adhesive, otherwise it will squeak. So after we did that and we was happy, I mean, it wasn't a perfect plan and a level floor, but it was a lot more better than it was before. So I think we still have like a 2-3 millimeter bow in the middle, but that will do. Is a thick flooring, so we won't have a problem. So we laid this underlaying for the flooring down. Make sure if you have underfloor heating, you will have an underlaying that is suitable for underfloor heating. And now we're trying to decide which way we're gonna go with the flooring. Normally you will go on a longer wall, which is like this, but all the other rooms are the opposite way. So discussing with the client, she wanted to have the flooring to match the rooms, and is exactly what we're gonna do, because I think this will be the best look, because mainly these doors to these bedrooms are open, so it will be nice to see that the flooring, which is not far off from the other flooring, you would like to see that this flooring is obviously running in the same way as the bedrooms. So we have 3 bedrooms here, and then if we lay the floor like that, they all gonna be running in the same way. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do before we start obviously the installation is to cut our door frames to make sure that our flooring will slide under the door frames, under the door stops, under the architraves. So we never cut the flooring around the architrave or the doorstop, because that won't look as good as this. Plus, you obviously doing this way, the floor will still have room for movement under the door frame. So very simple. Take a piece of flooring, put it on his back, and then just cut it with the multi-tool, and this is exactly how it's gonna look like. And it does look a lot more better. It does give you a much better finish than to try to cut your flooring around the door frame and then put some silicone and stuff like that. If you don't have a multi-tool, you can obviously use a pull saw or a hand saw. You will have to be a bit more careful with that. It will probably take you longer, but it's still doable. So if this will be your only installation, you don't have to invest in this multi-tool, even if I think they are great little tools and we found use for them for like a lot of applications. So I always recommend people to invest in one of these. You can buy a cheap one, you don't have to get an expensive one, but like I say, it is doable if you don't have one. So don't think that you is a must, but you can do it with a hand saw. But like I said, if you find yourself in doing like DIY jobs, or working in an industry, yes, definitely this is a must. You have to obviously invest in a tool like that. So we have cut both these frames, so there's 2 doors, 2 frames. We cut them both, and we put our first layer of flooring. We just want to obviously see how it works, see how it looks, and basically this will be our starting point. We just have to put some packers in between the new flooring and old flooring to make sure that this will obviously not move. We left gap around the skirtings because we are not removing the skirtings. Knowing the house, this is a very soft skirting, and we know we're gonna damage the skirting. Always leave about 2-3 millimeters gap around the around the door frames where you can. So obviously the piece that doesn't go under, always leave around 2-3 millimeters. Give him some space to move. You can always cover that with color silicone and no one will see it. You don't want to go very tight because then your flooring might not have room to move at all. Like I said, we are not removing the skirting. We know that most of it will get damaged, and we know we can't get it anywhere else because this was skirting made when they did the house. So we will obviously use the small trim, the scotia bead, and we'll cover the gap in between the flooring and the skirting after we finish. This is the flooring that I was saying earlier. You see there's like made from 3 laminations. You have 4 millimeters at the top, which is real wood, and then you have softwood in the middle and softwood at the bottom. They kind of like going in different directions, so that will obviously reduce the movement in the flooring. This engineered flooring with the tongue and groove, they are very easy to install. So you can install them either having the groove facing you, or you can install them having the tongue facing you like we have here. I prefer this way, so I can have the tongue facing me and I can have the groove obviously facing forward. The reason for that is because I like to keep the flooring and I like to put the glue into the groove. Is a lot easier for me. I find it easier, and I like to obviously if you, let's say, if you have the groove down and you try to put the glue from the bottle into a groove and it's obviously in the position, it won't work as good as if you can turn your flooring on a side and put obviously the glue in the groove and then just push it in, and maybe you need to obviously use your hammer to tap it in, which normally you shouldn't. But anyway, so first thing that we like to do is we like to cut a couple of rows of flooring. So in this case we have 6 rows of flooring, all cut, all obviously on the right, all done at the right size. So then they're all nice and they fit together. We take them all back one by one and we start gluing them obviously one by one. Once that we have glue on all of them and they all together, we can put the straps on and tie them together and leave them without walking on them for 10-15 minutes till the glue dries. So after we gonna obviously use the glue and put all the floor back as it was before we remove it, with obviously with the glue added, we are going to use these straps to obviously strap everything together nice and tight, and we leave it for 10 minutes to obviously dry. This glue dries in about 5 minutes, so we like to use it, we like to leave it a bit more, and then by the time that that glue will dry, those 10 minutes, we can cut the next flooring. So we can cut another 5 or 6 rows of flooring, so they will be ready. Soon as that it will be dry, we can obviously do the rest and move the straps and tighten everything together. I just showed you the glue earlier. That is a very quick drying glue, so I suggest to use something that dries obviously very quickly, because ideally you don't want to walk on the boards before they actually obviously dried. In these images you will see why I will prefer to do it this way, why I think it's easier to put the glue in the actually groove and then just push the plank into the position. I found it obviously easier than to put the glue in the groove, obviously if the plank is sitting flat on the floor. As I said earlier, this method of having this engineered flooring installed as floating flooring with obviously glue in between the planks, it is obviously the easiest way to do it, and it's quite fast, and you don't have to obviously get into the gluing, which gets obviously a bit more complicated, and you don't have to go into the nailing where it does obviously you will have to have a nailer and stuff like that. We did all those flooring before, so it wouldn't be a problem for us to do that. But obviously always try to do your installation as you need to do it. Obviously there was no need in here to glue the floor down, because floating floor will be just fine. We obviously couldn't nail the floor in here because we have the pipes into the actually chipboard, so definitely we will hit the pipe. So like I said, always do the best install that you have to do. Obviously it is a good idea to check the manufacturer specification, see what they recommend. If they obviously recommend to glue this floor down, then you should glue the floor down. But like I said, it's you that will have to decide. If there is no specification that you have to do it this way or that way, so you can do it any way you like, and if the client is not particular about any of this installation, then you should do this as you think is obviously the best, and wherever works, obviously cheaper for labor and materials. Okay, so now we have all the planks together. There is glue on all of them, and we are just going to use the straps and strap the flooring together, because obviously some of the boards you might find that are obviously not very straight, and they are not going in very tight. So obviously trying to use a block and a hammer won't help that. By doing this with the straps, that obviously will put pressure on the flooring and will straighten the flooring up if it needs. You should do a strap every like 60-80 centimeters, depending of obviously how big your area it is. We are probably going to do 4 straps in here, and then you will find out that when you strap a flooring, you will find out that the ends sometime kind of like try to bend up a little bit because of the pressure. So we always put some boxes with flooring on top of that, and we obviously leave them till the floor is dry. You will see now obviously us putting the flooring down. It doesn't bend at the beginning of the flooring because it's obviously under the door frames, so is obviously just the side where we are. You can see on the images that it really likes to bend up. As soon as we put that box down, it obviously go down. Yeah, this is what we normally do, and it did work just fine. Okay, so now I will take the camera and show you how it looks from the other side. We have 3 straps. I will add one more on the left hand side, because I'm not very happy with that particular side, so I will add one more there. You will see it on the next images. So yeah, this is how it looks. It's all tight. Like I said, try to not walk on them for 10-15 minutes till the glues is dried, and by that time you can obviously work the next planks. You can have them all cut, ready to be glued in place. So as soon as that is obviously glued, we're just gonna remove the straps and add some more flooring, add some more glue, and strap them back. Okay, so in here you can see us preparing the next planks. We could only do three more rows because we had this corner here, and in order to have a accurate cut, we have obviously need to put all these planks in and tie them together. So we're only gonna do these 3 rows of planks at this point. We are going to glue them together, and then we'll work out the rest. Okay, now it's time to remove the clamps. You can see I just removed them and put it the other way around because it does have sharp edges, sharp jaws. So I can show you now more closer how we doing the glue. So we just keeping the plank like that, and we put glue inside the groove. You don't want to put too much glue because you don't want to have a squeeze out. Not that, because that would be a big problem. You can obviously use a wipe or a down cloth and obviously wipe the excess, but you don't want to have obviously less glue than you need. So I will say that it's better to have more and have a squeeze out than to have less and not having that plank glued properly. But after a while, I mean, as soon as you start doing this floor, you will figure out what's the right amount that you will have obviously glue, and you don't want to have squeeze out. So basically you can do a try. You can put some glue, put your board in, and then remove the board and see how that glue is on the board, see if it's enough or if you have to put some more, and stuff like that. Bear in mind the groove and the tongue is obviously softwood, and you will have a very good bond with this glue, especially using these straps to obviously strap everything together. So this type of clamps, these straps, you will find them in any shop that has a decent supply in terms of flooring, or you can buy them in online on Amazon, eBay, and stuff like that. We bought them on Screwfix. They're not very expensive. I think I paid around £8 or £9 per one strap. I have about 8 because sometime we have a larger. I think I have 8 or 10 because sometime we have a larger area, and like I said, I like to place them not more than 80 centimeters apart, sometime even less if I have to. So after we install the last plank of this flooring, we are just going to move the straps, and we're going to strap the whole floor together, and then we are going to move the boxes forward. These floor boxes are quite heavy, so there's more than we need. If your boxes are not heavy, you might want to try stacking more on top of each other, or put some other heavy items whatever you have around. All you want to achieve with this is you want your flooring to be sitting down nice and flat, and touch obviously the underlay. Okay, so now we are moving closer to the staircase, so we're gonna have to do the staircase, the balustrades round first, and we'll have to cut the planks to actually fit into this round. So I will show you how I'm gonna do that. I will show you what I'm gonna be using for that, and I hope this will be very clear. So we bought, when we bought the flooring, we bought these trims. So this is like a threshold. It is the same color with the flooring, is it the same thickness of the flooring. So basically they are going by the steps. So this is a nosing. Yeah, you see this has this piece of nosing. We are going to use this as a nosing, but we are also going to use this to do a surround, like you can see here, for the balustrade. So all we did is to cut this at 45 and get rid of that nosing, and have it flat. So we left about 5 millimeters in between this surround and the balustrade, and also we have a groove, and we put some nails into it and some glue. We are obviously gonna hide those nails with some wax when we're gonna be finished, but by then this is the surround. It's needed to be done before the installation. Same process in here. We are using glue in the groove, and we're also gonna use glue in the nosing groove, as you will see now. You see, so glue there as well, and we're just putting this board and locking this board with the other flooring and with the nosing. So obviously this is a small area, and as much as you'll be tempted to use just full boards, I will say don't. You're gonna see us using 2 full boards, and then we'll have a joint in the middle or somewhere close, and then we're probably gonna use another boards or two boards and then have a joint. So don't try to do things more easier and just use one board, because you want your floor obviously to be strong enough, because this being a staircase, this being a corridor, it will have quite a bit of traffic on. So we'll do two full boards and then we'll joint one, and then probably another two full boards and joint one, and so on. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the difference between the nosing and the flat bit that we use around the balustrade. It is from the same piece. We just obviously planed that nosing with the electric planer, and you can see they are the same thickness, they are the same materials. We just planed that piece of wood that is sticking out. Nice and easy, didn't took long at all, and yeah, that's it. This is how we did it. Okay, so now is the time to cover the gap between the flooring and the skirting, and we're obviously going to use the same color bead. Is a Scotia beading. This is how it's called in UK. We are going to use a 23 gauge pin gun. So this obviously gun has the pins without the head, so they don't leave a big hole, and they don't they very obviously they're not visible. So as long as you don't go down on your knees and look very careful, sitting up, you will never gonna see these pins. All I have to do is to cut this a bit in an angle, just to make sure that I have a very nice nice transition then with the other skirting, and I'll show you how this pin gun will work. Is a very good pin gun. This is a solid wood material, so it's solid oak. This being an 23 gauge nail gun, battery operated, never had problems. Obviously the size of the nails, that the pins that you can use is obviously smaller than if you use a bigger one with a compressor. Here you can see me doing a return for that piece of molding that you saw me earlier trying to install in the corner. So basically, when you have a molding that will be exposed on his edge, you will want to do a return. So something that you're just going to cut 245s, return them, and then when you look at that molding from the edge, you won't see the actually fiber of wood because you cut it. You will see a return, and it will look like it looks on the front. So now I'm just going to show you what I mean about that, just in case that I haven't been very clear. Okay, so this is the return that I was talking about. You see, two pieces cut at 45. We're just gonna use this miter bond. Obviously, is the glue and the activator, and we're just gonna glue this together and we'll put them in place. And I think this will look a lot more better than just having your molding cut like that. Okay, so now the Scotia bit, the molding is in place. We're just gonna use this pin gun and we're gonna pin it into the actually skirting, because we don't want to pin this into the skirting and into the flooring. We just want that flooring to be able to move if it needs to move. So because of that, we are going to pin it just into the skirting, and obviously this is the small hole that you will never be able to see. Okay, so now it's time to fill the pinholes that we was obviously used for these nosings. We use obviously the bigger gun, so we have bigger holes than on the molding. We needed to have this secure in place a lot better, but by the time we are going to use this walks, we won't gonna see this anymore. You just have to have a couple of buttons and make sure that you're gonna use whatever color is obviously closer to the surface that you have the pinhole in. So always is good to have a couple of options and do the best that you have in hand. This is very easy to be done. You basically just take your button of wax and you just obviously work it into your hole, and then you use a plastic spatula to remove the excess, and then take a cloth, obviously a clean cloth and dry cloth, and just remove whatever is left around. So you see, you just put everything in the hole, and then you just use this spatula, remove the excess, and then at the end, like I say, if you need, just take a cloth and remove everything. As easy as that. And then as soon as you're obviously standing up, you won't see any holes. If you go down on your knees, yes, you might see them, because sometimes some of them will be really invisible, some of them will be still visible, but none of them will be visible when you're actually standing up. So yeah, this is the final product. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I was very clear. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the video, and we'll see you next time with another video. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.